we are in this together.
You have gifts that I don't have, and I have gifts that you don't have.
That we must see. Now is the time, because it's when we all get together that we will make the changes that we must make. We are the world.
Welcome to MalcolmPresents.com, a streaming network bringing you all the new shows that are not on television or the internet. And right now with the strike, I don't know whether we might be the only show on. In fact, that they might call us up to put us on, the streaming, because we ain't no union. But anyway.
And we're not actors.
And we're not actors. Well, speak for yourself.
I've acted before. I got some good money.
And welcome to Malcolm and We. Malcolm Presents is in partnership with We the World to bring you people who are trying to make the world a better place to live. And Yana, introduce our guest, who you know more about than I do.
Sure. Go. All right, here I go. Kurt Krueger says he plays roles, and he has played many, but these roles are not who he is. I can say that he has played a lot of roles, and I'm sure I'm only mentioning the very few. But to start, he is a global citizen living in and helping to make a regenerative society, a society that is living life on a planet in trouble. In his main role as a global citizen, he is one of the founders of the Peace Lab and the Peacemakers Circles and Networks. He does this by being a solutionist, a polymath, an explorer, a character and virtues and inclusionist, a pragmatic futurist, an educator, an athlete and coach, and author. Again, these are only a few of the roles. Today, we can add that he is a guest of Malcolm and We. So welcome, the amazing Kurt Krueger. Thanks for being here.
Actually, I have to give you an applause.
I love to give applause back. And the reason I do this is after music that is, let's say, very uplifting, let's say some classical music, people clap, and it totally destroys the vibe of that classical music. Whereas when we use this is how people who do not hear clap. And so we honor these people that are people who have diverse abilities, not disabilities, diverse abilities, because oftentimes these people with special needs, as some people call it, no, they just have, like anybody, have different needs. So I like to offer a little bit of those little things to help bring more peace to our planet by bringing simpler things to life. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I will have you anytime. Anyway,
I told you he was Mr. Positive.
You founded something called the Peacemakers Circle.
Yes.
And explain to us, what is it?
It's basically an organization, so to speak, if you want to call it that is based on nature. And in basing it on nature, we flow with being able to get people to grow, basically, really speaking, organically. We get them to grow from where they have their gifts. Because you don't try to get an orange tree to be an apple tree. It's not his gift. So we get to be able to grow. For instance, if I'm an economist, have that kind of mind, I would get you to be able to understand the economy in a holistic way to be able to bring peace to the world. How? There are different ways of going about economics. I know a man who teaches the economics of happiness. There's a lady that does the circular economics, another lady that does the donut economics. And there are ways to be able to bring the environment, the people that are surrounded by the big corporation or whatever kind of company it is, to be able to take all three of those elements into account for making everybody be able to thrive. Make a fortune? No, you're not going to make a fortune because you distribute it to the people. Therefore, everybody's happier, healthier, and holier. Simple things like that. And we train people to understand everybody is a leader. Everybody is a peacemaker. Walking down the street, just simply, if you smile at somebody or say, how you doing? Or something like that, it gets these people walking in New York City where they have these blank stares, don't look at anybody, to maybe glance and open up from this zone that they're in, which is wherever that is, and gets them to have an opportunity to chat, gets them to have an opportunity to open the heart, because that's what the symbol of this whole organization of peacemakers is. You see, the heart is open. And
Well,
love.
but by the way, I think we lost Yana temporarily because I think she's having problems with her signal.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So anyway, right now it's me and you. But anyway, what you're talking about is, as I had mentioned to you earlier, I'm originally from New York City, and I lived in Manhattan. I used to do walking in the morning, and I lived right next to Central Park, so I'd walk the park. And I know, and this has gone back to the 70s, late 70s, early 80s. And I say hello to people, even if I don't know them and they pass me. So I would run past someone and say hello. And initially, I wouldn't get a response because basically, in a big city, you don't know who you're talking to. I mean, they might be crazy for all you know.
Who isn't?
But yeah. But after like maybe a week or less, I noticed when I would say hello, they turn around and either say hello or nod their heads.
Yep.
And put a smile on because they were unused to this. It's the same way when I go into an elevator and I know I'm going up floors, I'll turn around and speak to the person. Hey, how's your day?
I do a similar kind of thing. Instead of that, I don't just talk to one person. I say, hey, anybody have a nice song to sing?
No.
And guess what? Sometimes it happens.
Right.
And suddenly people are walking out singing.
We're similar to that in a lot of ways. But how do you get your word out? Number one, how long have you been doing this?
Peacemaking?
Yeah.
Ever since I was young. When I learned to be able to meditate, I started teaching everybody else to meditate. The prison priests and wardens of Sweden, the whole prison system, taught them how to meditate. Why? Because when people are inside and you change inside, you're different when you go outside. You're in what's called a sacred space. You were in like the calm lake instead of a troubled mind, or instead of turbulent place.
What type of meditation do you do?
I teach people any and all kinds of meditations. I've taught mindfulness. I've taught driving meditation, like Zen meditation, walking meditation. Instead, we can apply it to modern times. The idea of the walking or the idea of the driving to being in a peaceful space and be full and complete and aware at the time. The most powerful that we've created so far that I see is integrating three main forms. And that is to be able to do basically like a cue word or mantra, which is, for the peacemakers, and it can be done in any language. You basically want to do it in a psychosomatic way, in a spiritual way. You have your hands at your lap, like as if you're holding a tray on your lap, because we're all seated right now. And as you're ready to breathe in, you bend backwards, putting your hands on your heart, and you say, peace in everything. And you bend forward, everything with peace. Peace in everything, everything with peace. And as we keep doing this, it creates muscle memory. It's like davening in front of the Western Wall. And it allows the muscle memory to take it into its memory, that you get to be more peaceful. Your breathing calms down. When we do a 5.5 second breathing, it really syncs the body into the cohesive brainwave pattern. So your whole brain is opened up to be able to learn or to pay attention or to be insightful, because insight, inspiration, enthusiasm, it all comes from within. So as we go peace in everything, everything with peace, it also goes with the law of predominant mental impression. What are we thinking about? We attract. When we created the Peace Lab, we put the word out that, we're doing this. And people contacted us to be on the programs that were top-notch people. And some people nobody knew about, but were top-notch people. The forces of the universe are conspiring for us. The collaboration naturally happens when we focus on what we want. We have war. Why? That's all we focus on. We fund wars. Imagine we get to fund peacemaking.
Yeah. Well, years ago, I got into New York, transcendental meditation.
Yeah. I met Mahesh Yogi, put his shoes on.
Yeah, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi.
Yeah.
And as I remember back then, I could grow a beard, not much longer than mine, but shorter than yours. And it was the days where I wore a Nehru jacket and I had love beads. And they used to call me Maharishi Mahesh Malcolm.
I love it.
And I followed, and I used to go to a lot of the speeches. I think it's Swami Satchidananda.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he would speak, like a few hundred people. And when you go,
I knew all these guys at that time.
Yeah,
and Dananda was my teacher.
Yeah, and when you go to the auditorium, they said it was you had to do the Om Shanti Shanti.
Yeah.
And it said it got you in the rhythm of the world. And if you get like 200-300 people going Om Shanti for about 5 minutes, you sort of feel you're in vibration with the world.
Yeah, you feel so much more peaceful.
Yeah.
And it's all this, again, it's bringing people into resonance. It's like when we get to talk together instead of, quote, at each other. When we talk to be able to collaborate rather than to make a deal.
Right.
We are able to grow and thrive, just like the microbiome does. We did a program on biomimicry for Humanity Rising, and it was one of our best programs because it shows how for eons of time, life has flourished on the planet. It's all the survival of the fittest, but the fittest are not the strongest necessarily. They're the ones that know how to collaborate more and be able to help each other. An example of how powerful that is, during the Blitz, the Germans thought they're going to make Great Britain just get wiped out in a way, disempower them because of this incredible Blitz. And the British were thinking the worst parts of town are going to have the worst crime rate and problems and so on. But actually, the worst part of town, they are used to being able to help each other. Why? A person who earns their living is being tips better than a rich person in regard to how much they have. It's amazing. We get to open our hearts and to be able to that's what the meditation does for us. And it gets us so you can get in any stressful situation and be calm. I was on a hijacked airplane.
Wow.
I got into the deepest state of meditation I'd ever been in at that time. That's how powerful meditation can be.
Well,
I was able to help a lady next to me who was breathing crazy and so on. And I just grabbed her arm and said, calm down. Everything will be okay. The Lord's taking care of us, because I thought she might have believed in God at that time. And she calmed down. What happened to me is I got to do the breathing like she was doing. It's like I took stuff on but I was still calm in my mind. I was
Well,
breathing, shaking, and so on. It's a big story. I don't
yeah,
get it.
I never got into your state of enlightenment. I got up to a certain point, but I remember Swami Satchidananda, and he was saying that nothing likes to be possessed. And he said even inanimate objects have a feeling, have an aura. So it's like if you want to possess money and take it and save it and say it ain't going to work for you because the money has a way that it wants to go, it wants to be free. He said it's like a bird in a cage. He said if you open up the cage, the bird will fly out, but if you don't pursue it, it's going to fly right back in.
What do they call a person who only gives love to themselves?
Masturbator.
Narcissist.
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 Oh, I got it right.
They don't feel any love. They're seeking love, but they don't know how to get it. Why? Because they can't give it.
Yeah.
We give. Again, this symbol behind me is all about giving peace in everything, everything with peace. And when we start to sense that we're not in that state, we can come back to that simple mantra in whatever language we have, and to be able to repeat it, and we get calmer, quicker, the more we use it. And that's the key, is the more you use these tools, the easier they are. I was an elite athlete. I was an all-American swimmer, and I've actually have some senior Olympic gold medals and so on.
Wow.
So this guy, even though we've been 11 years from training, was able to win some medals. Why? Because of this. And that's what got me started into teaching sports psychology. And I don't have a PhD. My PhD is in playing happily daily.
Yeah, well, I mean, what I love sports for, and I've played it, and being from New York, we grew up. When I had a chance to run, we would be out in the schoolyard or the school or the city streets playing ball. And then, of course, it was baseball, football, and I would never soccer. I was my boys play soccer, but I'm always amazed by these athletes who what we used to say, when money's on the line, when you have to make the shot. I know for me personally, I would tighten up. My muscles would get tight because I knew how important it was.
They call it choking.
And yet the athlete, he can be at the foul line shooting a shot that's going to be, the game or not the game. And he is perfectly relaxed. I marvel at that. I have never gotten to that state of consciousness.
The nice thing is that you can. Right now, even though you're 94,000 years old like me, not quite, especially as you want to.
Right.
We've got something to be able to do that enhances us by doing this simple practice and can enhance so many other people. And in giving that gift, then what happens? It spreads exponentially. As a teacher, you never ever get a chance to know how far your reach has been. I have a student living up the street from me right now, an old student that I failed in middle school. He's now a real estate agent, doing extremely well because he's got a better view than I have, or different view, I should say, not better. And he gets to be able to be all that. But he said my class was his best class, and he still respected me even though I failed him. Why? Because we taught strengthening character, fit for life ideas, and fun. That was our program in physical education at this school. It was all about that, because that would make the school worth living. It changed the whole school. We even taught teachers to bring in some of our practices from PE into the classroom to get concentration without saying, shut up, be quiet. Doing it nicely and sweetly. Bringing that love into life, opening the peace to life. And this is what you do at any time.
So basically, you're making the world better one person at a time, in essence.
In essence, and yet all the people that get to hear this, thank God that's that one person.
Yeah, well, as I say, I don't know how many people listen to our shows. Hopefully, millions, but not really. But yeah, it could be thousands, tens of thousands. I don't know how many will take something away from it. But at least if you have one person that takes one thing away, we've accomplished.
I just met a man that I had met months and months ago on the street. I was walking up the hill and so on. I met him again last night, and he's an athletic trainer. He wants me to work with him now because I just mentioned some things to him about how his work can be enhanced in all kinds of ways. Because most athletic trainers have their blinders on. They've only been trained in the old paradigm, so to speak, the old ways. But who looks at homeopathy, let's say? Homeopathy is a medicine that can cure people of a lot of different things, and it's not a drug, and it's so cheap. And the Queen of England uses incredible homeopathists and so on. And the king now uses one also, and so on. I mean, it's the best medicine outside of the certain things that allopathy can give us, like certain surgeries, like I've had surgery on my back. I stopped using the regular drugs after a 10-hour surgery, 2 days, 10-hour surgery on my back, replacing 4 discs.
Wow.
Putting fusing the vertebrae. I stopped all the narcotics the very day of the second surgery. It was 2 days in a row. What did I do to deal with the pain? I took a nanotechnology form of CBD oil, cannabidiol. It's from the cannabis plant, but it's the hemp plant, and it is able to help with pain and all kinds of other things. So I didn't have to have drugs in me that actually depletes my system of its energy and thrivingness, and depletes the immune system, because I use something that's totally natural. So when we look at everything, because one of my companies that we started is Success Systems International. It's .net if you're looking for it. We work with that holistic approach. Body, mind, spirit. That means nutrition. That means everything.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you now, I've been going through that as I'm getting older. And I must say I'm getting older. Yeah, I wake up each day and I say, okay, what hurts now? The shoulder hurts, the back hurts. But the problem is, you go to a doctor, regular doctor, and he'll examine me. I say, well, what can I do about it? He say, well, Malcolm, you're not getting any younger. I said, I have to go to you to tell me you're not getting any younger? And what they do is, instead of saying, okay, you could take this type of, natural thing, but they give you medicine.
Yeah. And it doesn't solve the issue. It only hides the pain.
It hides the issue. But then again, the residual effect of that medicine gives you 4 other things to worry about.
Look at the advertising for commercials on drugs, and they'll say this does this for this one thing, and it's not a bad thing. It's not an evil thing, but this has 34 different side effects, and the last one sometimes is even death. So why keep a thing like that?
But again, I agree with you that there's a way that I'm a firm believer that the mind can control your pain, and it can't, if you're that advanced, that you can make your mind produce a certain antibodies that would correct it.
Brain opiates. Yeah. They're called endorphins.
Well, it's sort of like I wasn't a professional athlete, but I did marathons.
Oh, you're a masochist.
Yeah, I'm a masochist, but it was fun.
Of course.
In any event, the body produces, it's called the runner's high.
Yeah. That's why you did it.
Yeah, because you could be running, let's say 10, 15 miles, and you could say, oh my God, I'm tired.
I go
And
vote.
then all of a sudden you get this euphoric feeling. Now I forget what the mind produces, but it produces an enzyme
Well,
that makes you feel high and you
yeah,
feel so good.
it's neuroendorphins. They're basically called brain opiates.
Endorphins, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Now, there's one thing that meditation can actually get those produced a lot more too. And again, there's so many things that have been researched now, but they've been known before. Like there's a book called Why Woo Woo Works. So why all this stuff like, let's say either homeopathy or let's say this Reiki or acupuncture or something that's supposedly woo-woo, why it works. And they go and show all the results. Give you an example. I did a trust fall at this middle school. Had the biggest gang in the San Fernando Valley. It's called Van Nuys Middle School. I do this fall from a table, and the kids, 7 kids were supposed to catch me. But when I got up on top of the table and turned around, they moved closer to the table than where I set them up. So 4 kids caught my legs and 3 had to catch the rest of me. So naturally, they dropped me on my head. It messed up my whole spine. That's why I had to have that surgery of 4 discs and so on. Talk about pain. Well, guess what? I don't have any pain anymore. The issue of the pain went away when I went to a man called Tatsuo Hirano for acupuncture. Mm-hmm. Tatsuo didn't look at any x-rays. He's an acupuncturist. He laid me down on the table and ran his fingers up and down my spine. He then put the needles in where they were supposed to go. And then 45 minutes later, he comes back, takes the needles out, rolls me over, and adjusts me. I had the neck was really bad. You should have seen the pictures of my neck, mid back, and lower back. Horrible. But he adjusted me. I had 50% more improvement in feeling in my fingers. It took about 20 sessions before I had my thumbs finally get it back. The thumbs were the last one. Why? That's connected up with your heart. And that is connected up with the spinal cord more and so on. But it got back. So I highly recommend people opening the blinders, because our society gets people with PhDs that have blinders on. And we are opening people to the light and love of life. How to be able to bring peace in everything with peace.
Fantastic. Now, where can people hear you?
Pardon?
Where can people hear? Can they hear you or read about you? Or
I have a YouTube channel. It's a simple YouTube channel, and I don't really work it like it should be worked, so to speak. I can put in the chat or something the YouTube channel. It's important that people check with me. You can PeacemakersCircles@gmail.com is one. You can look up
Circle?
Circles, it's plural. Peacemakers Circles at gmail.com.
At Gmail, okay.
Or www.successsystemsinternational, all spelled out, .net.
Okay, and they can find out what you do, because I think what you're trying to disseminate is very important.
We're doing it. And it's
well, also you're doing a lot through Peace Through Unity too.
Yes, with Unity Week, Peace Through Unity. I'm doing it with the what do they call it? Evolutionary Circles groups. I'm doing it with World Unity Week. Everything, any which way I can. Humanity Rising Global Solutions. neighbors. I'm going to see Marianne Williamson tonight. I'm going to talk to
Hmm.
her. She's a presidential candidate. I've talked with Bernie Sanders. I've talked with a number of UNIQ people, and I'd like to connect up with RFK Jr. too. But anybody, and it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you on. I'm involved with the solutionaries, and the resolutionaries, and so on. We're bringing to life in Congress. We have a bill getting ready for Congress to be able to make it so Congress will have to use mediation techniques and practices rather than just bickering back and forth. Go to solutions and make it so we have a wonderful society modeling after nature what works for all, not just the military industrial complex, not just the elite that are getting to be even more elite, and more people are getting to be poor and starving in the world. We're reversing that because the power is in the people. You look at the idea of having the morphogenic field theory. When enough people get a particular idea in their mind, it transmits across oceans.
Yeah, Kurt, I
Research, Institute of Noetic Sciences research, same kind of thing.
yeah, Kurt, I hate to cut you off because I think I could talk to you for days, but our time is up. Again, do you take donations or to your cause? Or?
I do. I take any donations that anybody would like, because I'm getting by the skin of my teeth.
Where would they contact you for the donations? Go to your website?
Yeah, go to my website, connect up with me on an email if you'd like, and join the Peacemakers circles too.
Okay.
Because we're expanding all over the world. We're in Africa, Asia, everywhere.
And could you do me a favor?
Yes.
When you get the copy of the show, could you share this with your email friends?
With everybody.
I appreciate that, because again, as I always say, with no budget, we depend on our friends to spread the word.
Well, you know, the old idea of you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. But the thing is, even if people don't scratch my back, if they need a back scratch, I'm going to scratch them.
We appreciate that. And Yana, I know we lost you for most of the show.
Yeah, my smile was too dazzling, you know.
I could just imagine you with the breeze.
But then again, Kurt, we must have you back.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
And Yana will get in touch. Anyway, you are listening to Malcolm and We, heard on malcolmpresents.com. We are all our shows are on demand and archived, so you could binge watch all our shows, which I advise you to do, Kurt. Go to Malcolm Presents, go to Malcolm and We, and listen to all the shows if you have some time. Anyway, thank you much. Bye-bye.
Zoom peace. This is looking at the world through peace. I mean, through love, and you throw it out to the world. It says, Zoom peace.
And me too.
Whereas I went for many years.
The objective of the organization, We the World, is to facilitate cooperation on a global scale amongst groups and individuals dedicated to implementing solutions to the many challenges we face on the planet at this time.